Upavistha Konasana, Part 2. Seated Angle Pose. Jane begins in Dandasana, then takes her legs wide for Upavistha Konasana. Next, she puts her left hand in front and her right hand behind her hips and turns toward her right foot. As we look at her pose, we can see how Jane's left hip has lifted from the floor as her left leg rolled out. She's rolled her shoulders forward and shortened her torso as her head turned to the right. Her right hand is away from her hips, causing her to lean back. It looks as if only her head is turned. Jane has lost her Upavistha Konasana. Let's have her return to center and try the other side. As Jane turns to the left, she works to keep her right hip on the floor as she keeps her right thigh, knee, and toes pointing toward the ceiling. She places her left hand close to her sacrum to help her stay upright. Lifting her torso away from her hips lets Jane start to turn below her navel and keep her chest open. She stops turning her head when her nose points to the space between her big toe and second toe. Finally, she rolls her shoulders down and back and lifts her head. To exit, Jane brings her hands forward and lets herself unwind without collapsing. She then uses her hands to bring her legs back to Dandasana. Let's watch Jane's skeleton in Upavistha Konasana. As we look at her initial pose, we can see how she's moved weight toward her right hip and let her left leg roll out as the hip lifted. Her right hand is away from her hips. Her chest has collapsed and her back is rounded, shortening her torso and causing her to lean back. Her neck is turned more than the rest of her spine. Let's have her return to center and try the other side. She keeps her left hand close to her sacrum. Starting the rotation below her navel helps Jane lift her torso. This time Jane works to keep her right hip on the floor as she keeps her right thigh, knee, and toes pointing upward. When her nose points to the space between her first two toes, Jane stops turning her head. Then she rolls her shoulders down and back as she lifts her head. To exit, Jane lifts her hands and lets herself unwind without collapsing. She then uses her hands to bring her legs back to Dandasana.